Hello there. So nice to have you here on a night like this when we can share a dream like I had at Quincy College as the night grows late. Sense of community was and is the light of the world. Won't you join us? You can offer a Work Meets Faith small group discussion which will build a sense of community among your friends. Invite your friends to take the Smart Retreat. I am Jeff Leoto, founder of Loquate since 1970. Today, a retreat community for peace. Take the retreat for a journey of mind and heart. Our mind says to keep our diversity, and our heart says everyone say the same thing. Because if we are united, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Back at Quincy College in the 1960s, many of the teachers were Franciscan priests, and Brother Cleet was the business manager. His example shone like a light. The school was trying to teach us the art of living. Brother Cleet did that well. I sold ads for the school newspaper and brought the paper from a loss to a profit. Brother Cleet was impressed. The editor asked me to stop selling ads. We had more ads than articles. We could talk to each other like that. The sense of community I experienced there made it a special place. I have longed to replicate it elsewhere. Another person went there almost 90 years before me. Reverend Tolton was the first ordained black priest in America. He used God-centered sense of community to face the harshness of the world. He did a pretty good job. He is up for consideration as a saint. This video covers academic research validating natural law of intrinsic psychological needs. It is a natural law that all human beings are born with feelings. Our feelings tell us if we are on target or off target as a human being. Feelings are hardwired into the human chassis. As a computer analogy, feelings become part of our operating system. Loquate, a community for peace, has done research on primary values that affect our feelings. Academic research supports the validity of each primary value and calls them intrinsic psychological needs. The first primary value is doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. The second primary value is attaining a goal. The third primary value is operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself. That is, your interiorly preferred work. Applying academic research to the first primary value, doing that which is truly in the best interests of others, psychologists use terms called agency and relatedness. Dr. Albert Bandura of Stanford University said agency is the sense that I did that. The proactive desire to create, manipulate, influence, and transform the environment that one is in so to improve it in some way. Bard, Deasy, and Ryan in 1998 showed that employees' experiences of satisfaction of the needs for autonomy, competence, and relatedness in the workplace predicted their performance and well-being at work. Doing that which is truly in the best interests of others increases environmental improvement and enhances relatedness with those in the environment. Academic research says this about the second primary value, attaining goals. Eric H. Kessler of Pace University said, "The roots of goal-setting theory lie in biology. An organism's survival is conditional on its fulfilling its needs, fulfilling goals." Close to 400 studies were conducted by many researchers over a period of some 25 years before the findings were integrated into an actual theory in 1990. Goal-setting theory has been rated as the most important and valid theory in organizational behavior and industrial organizational psychology. It is widely taught in university courses and appears in virtually all organizational behavior and industrial and organizational psychology textbooks. The third primary value is operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself. Operating in an area of meaningful expansion for yourself relates to one's belief in one's ability to succeed in specific situations, what academic research calls self-efficacy. Dr. Albert Bandura, Stanford University, said, "One's sense of self-efficacy can play a major role in how one approaches goals, tasks, and challenges." Since Bandura published his seminal 1977 paper, the subject has become one of the most studied subjects in psychology. Edwin A. Locke, University of Maryland, and Gary P. Latham, University of Michigan, published in Psychological Science an article cited by 748. After decades of research, it is now possible to offer a coherent, data-based theory of work motivation and job satisfaction. If high challenge is accompanied by high expectancy of success or self-efficacy, high performance results, given that there is commitment to the goals, feedback, adequate ability, and low situational constraints. In summary, Richard M. Ryan and Edward L. Deci, both of the University of Rochester, published in American Psychologist, cited by 14,168. The findings have led to the postulate of three innate psychological needs: competence, autonomy, and relatedness, which when satisfied yield enhanced self-motivation and mental health, and when thwarted lead to diminished motivation and well-being. In summary, natural law supports the three primary values: relatedness, doing that which is truly in the best interests of others; competence, attaining a goal; and autonomy, operating in an area of meaningful expansion for ourselves. The natural law or rule is this: if one or more of the values is present and the experience does not go against any of the other values, you will feel good. If the experience goes against one or more of the values, you will feel bad, even if other values are present. Part 3. Now let's apply this research to everyday life. Code is the identity experience we take on. For example, let's say at Hospital A, Code 1 had a specific meaning to doctors, nurses, and staff. For example, a patient is dying. Each member of the team takes on their role. Each team member quickly jumps into their role because of code. They think fast because of code. Another term for code is norms. A norm is an expected form of behavior from a group member in order to stay a member of that group. Everyone has code. Code is hardwired deep into our system for survival. The problem is that code can be good or bad. Back at Quincy College, I wondered what made a leader. I knew I was not a leader. I wanted to be close to leaders just to understand them. So I became involved in student activities and with those I saw as leaders. As an observer, some leaders could be good or bad, or good and bad at different times. Obviously, good code or bad code may be placed on a child early on in a family setting. Membership in a family is survival. Membership as a youth in a group is survival, whether it be drug or gang member or house of worship. Membership in a group as an adult in a horrific war setting is survival. What if Hospital A policy suddenly mandated its doctors in a Code 1 to not respond to any patient over 90 and save lives only for patients under 90? The team member would still have a check or control or feedback loop, their feelings. They would immediately know if they felt good or bad about the new code. If code goes against satisfying innate psychological needs, you will feel bad. Checking bad code for primary values is rudimentary and available to all thanks to the academic research noted above. Breaking down the bad code may be done in relation to the primary values from Loquate to determine precisely the reason why you feel the way you do. Part 4, Spiritual Roots. Our SMART retreat explores the spiritual roots of that which we value the most. A discussion group among friends is integral to the retreat. Helping another accomplish that which they value the most for the common good is extreme value. The intended outcome is greater happiness and joy for you and greater sense of community for all of the groups of which you are a part. Getting closer to the spiritual roots of that which you value the most can be an interfaith exercise with friends. For some, like an atheist or an agnostic, that means getting closer to your principles, like integrity, honesty, and doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. For others, that means God. According to Pew Forum in 2014, 92% of the U.S. population believes in God. The retreat process focuses on that which you value the most. Diversity of belief, including God-centered sense of community, is included for all without getting into differences of belief. The peaceful purpose of the retreat is helping each other to accomplish for the common good that which they value the most. Part 5, Relevance to Religion. The chart below shows God as the ultimate goal of life for those who claim to serve Him. The base of the pyramid shows the primary values. We have seen the primary values are related to our feelings as innate psychological needs. The middle shows an open space around religion in this sense. Religion may define code in line or out of line with innate psychological needs. Here is the mind part again. A norm inside the natural boundaries of the pyramid is good code. A norm outside the natural boundaries of the pyramid is bad code. Going back to Hospital A, mandating to not respond to Code 1 if a patient is over 90 is bad code. Staff would be going against the primary value of doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. The innate psychological need of relatedness with a patient over age 90 would be thwarted. Staff would know they were off target as human beings. Man has free will. Not everyone need follow bad code. Back to religion. Could a loving God who created us with free will ask us to force another to join our religion? What kind of code causes terrorism? We all think we have the ultimate answer in that which we value the most. The truth is, no two people ever have identical beliefs. I think it is the code itself that's causing confusion and problems, not the other way around, God causing the problems. The religious lie is doing evil in the name of good. Bad code goes against fulfilling innate psychological needs. No religion has authority to go against innate psychological needs put into us by our Creator, defined as going against the primary values. Any claiming to be acting according to a religion under God, purposely hurting or harming others, would be self-evidently misaligned. An identity experience is an experience that is elevated by a person as typical of what it means to be part of a group. When bad code becomes an identity experience, that is a problem. The shocking point is that every person who behaves against innate psychological needs gives a bad name to that which they value the most, be it God, religion, government, work practice, or ethical principle. And that includes all of us. Euclid's postulate can help us here. Things which are equal to the same thing are also equal to one another. When a person hurts or harms another, that which they value the most is put down. That which they value the most, God, for example, in the religious lie, is not equal to bad code. Everyone innately knows this truth. Only when a person exhibits good code is a person like that which they value the most. Back at Quincy College, Brother Cleet taught no formal courses. He just lived his life with good code. He was famously loved in the business office by all who knew him. Unfortunately, if a Brother Cleet is not around, we can all be swept up by bad code. We can all be terrorists. We don't become a terrorist until bad code, hurting or harming others, gets adopted as an identity experience. Every person who adopts bad code as an identity experience, hurting or harming others, needs forgiveness and mercy. We had a system for justice back at Quincy College. It consisted of a student welfare board of about 7, faculty chaired by the dean of students, and a student representative. Each had an equal vote. The student facing discipline would choose one student representative from among 4 available. I couldn't understand why students in trouble almost always chose me as their student representative. I thought it was luck of a good outcome early on. I would tell the student that I could not get them more than they deserved, but I would fight to make sure they wouldn't get worse than they deserved. But I told them they had to tell me the truth. Then I would share their story with the welfare board, along with my recommendation and reasoning. The welfare board almost always followed my recommendation. It just happened that way. Back then, bad code could result in expulsion. And for men, my biggest constituency, expulsion meant almost certain draft during the Vietnam War. Having mercy and forgiveness was a blessing. The exception proves the point. One student had violated a rule calling for expulsion. The welfare board enforced the rule, but the college president gave the student a pardon. We formed a charismatic cross small group out of the welfare board. We suffered for the other who hurt or harmed us, and we still love the other, doing that which is truly in their best interests. Then we drew the other to us, and we had joy. In my last year at Quincy, I was asked to carry an envelope to announce the homecoming queen. As I walked across the dance floor, the assembly gave out catcalls and cheers, calling my nickname, Toad. Later that evening, a friend came up to me shaking his head and said, "I don't believe it." "What?" I asked. He said, "You got more applause than the queen." We both laughed. Later that night in bed, in the quiet of my room, before I went to sleep, I reflected. I had wanted to understand leaders. Now I realized I was one. That good code and the Student Welfare Board had become an identity experience for me. Having mercy and forgiveness was a blessing then and is today. Some of my friends and I have become consultants. We offer up to 1 hour of free consultation to any who ask. You can find us through our videos at Loquay TV, where work meets faith. It is worth it to break down the code and build sense of community instead of tearing down those whose beliefs do not align with our own. You can find out how to become a consultant by getting our Work Meets Faith kit. Will we forget what we learned as children of God to be in sense of community? Kahneman, a Pulitzer Prize winner, says we are prone to making bad decisions, but on matters of importance we can think slow, not fast. Code is like that. We have to think slow about code. Everyone has to say the same thing about religious code. Everyone has to be united. Our mind says we have to keep our diversity, but everyone has to eliminate bad code and build sense of community. Only then can we truly live as children of God. Our heart informs us that if we are united, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Won't you get our Work Meets Faith kit? Offer the Smart Retreat hands-free to your friends of all faith. Have a small group discussion. Build sense of community in your little corner of the world. The complete cost is $9.99, and all of your friends can benefit. Your friend is your advocate. Your friend trusts you. By gently, patiently, kindly acknowledging in humility your dignity, giving you the freedom to follow your own faith path, regardless of faith path. The reason your friend invited you to take this retreat is faith in wanting to do that which you value the most. Our common job is to leave behind ways that hurt and harm others and to move us closer to more loving ways for all around us. That is emotional intelligence. Loquate Research acts as a plug-in between academic research on emotional intelligence, focusing on primary values that create a sense of community. Loquate employs academic research from the field of emotional intelligence on best practices for Work Meets Faith small groups. Best practices empower participants with greater happiness and sense of community, so as to operate longer and better in a world that can all too often be harsh. Best practices consist in increasing self-awareness, self-management, empathy, and community building through skilled relationships. Emotional intelligence training permits self-management by the group members for best practice outcomes. What is the retreat purpose? We all have a job to do that no one else can do. When our job contains that which we value the most, we get more meaning out of work and do a better job. This retreat lets us explore the spiritual roots of that which we value the most. The intended outcome of the retreat is greater happiness and joy for you, and greater sense of community for all of the groups of which you are a part. The peaceful purpose of the retreat is gaining experience at helping each other to accomplish that which we value the most. Here's an example. Jeff sent an email to his brother Jim, who was on his deathbed. Jim loved email because he could pick and choose what to respond to and leave off what he did not want to respond to. In this way, Jim could keep his agenda flowing in the direction he wanted. Jeff wanted to be an advocate for his brother. Jeff did not press a response on troubling areas. Both brothers were totally honest and spoke with integrity to each other. In their email correspondence chain lasting 6 months, they found amazing areas of mutual interest that provided extreme value to others. The brothers were fond of their email correspondence. They found common ground. The email sent from Jeff to Jim on Jim's deathbed said this: Jim, just ask for God's mercy. The abundance of this life continues on into the next life for those who trust in a merciful God. Jim replied, if you want a relationship with me, it has to be with my God, not yours. Jeff replied in his last email to Jim, okay. Those last 2 emails are a metaphor for interfaith dialogue. One can drive the dialogue only towards their own agenda. The other can still be an advocate for the one doing the driving. Both can be totally honest and speak with integrity to each other. Both can find amazing areas of mutual interest that provide extreme value for others. Both can find common ground. What is the retreat process? This retreat process is all about changing yourself and not about changing anyone else. The process is first and foremost an attitude that is acquired as the result of listening to various points of view and helping each other accomplish that which they value the most. The process permits God-centered sense of community without getting into details of differences of belief. God may be interchangeably defined as that which you value the most, leaving participation open to all. Stories of shared experience are key. Stories tell us we are not alone, even stories from another faith. These stories help you to accomplish in faith that which you value the most. What is the retreat goal? The goal on this retreat is for you to get closer to that which you value the most. For some, that means getting closer to your principles, like integrity, honesty, and doing that which is truly in the best interests of others. For many, that means God. For everyone, this retreat allows us to get closer to the spiritual roots of that which we value the most.